This is a story from around April 1983 when I decided to enter for the London Marathon. What I did, I got up at 5:30 in the morning, went to Charing Cross Station where it was packed with other marathon runners. From there, jumped on the train to Blackheath, Shooters Hill, as I remember. I dressed in my balaclava and glasses, jumper with various items safety pinned onto it, tracksuit bottoms and trainers. Suppose the marathon started, and at one stage I was the 26,000 person in the race out of 26,000 runners. All the water suppliers had gone. I was left walking around the streets of South London on my own, dressed in balaclava, glasses, jumper, complete with items hung on by safety pins. Anyway, got to Tower Bridge. I'd walked about 13 miles when I decided enough was enough and I'd go into the Dickens Inn for a pint, where I met some friends. From there, well, how many pints did I have? Must have been about 2. And I asked me mate Dave, would he drop me at Trafalgar Square so I could rejoin the race? Which he agreed to. So off I went to Trafalgar Square, where he dropped me off. And I walked down to the Mall, dressed in balaclava, glasses, jumper with various items hanging off of it. And to get back onto the course, I had to ask a policeman, can I rejoin the marathon, as I'd lost my way. He could tell I was genuine because I had my marathon number taped to me jumper, which had various items hanging off of it, held on by safety pins. Anyway, he burst out laughing. So he let me back on the race, and I rejoined, walking along. I didn't do any running whatsoever, I just walked all the way, basically. Anyway, I done another about 2 miles, say maybe 3 miles, and I came to the finishing line, and I was walking along, not caring the world, while other runners were collapsing of exhaustion around me. Some members of the public were shouting out SAS to me because I wore balaclava, glasses, jumper with various items hanging off of it. Though I don't know what that's got to do with the SAS, but there you go. Anyway, I crossed the finishing line and various runners were collapsing and in a state of exhaustion, and they just gave me a medal and wrapped me in this tin foil stuff, and I just went off, got changed, and walked to the tube station and went home, basically. And I still have my medal to this day. Oh, and by the way, I think my finishing time was 4 hours and so many minutes. So I think I've done quite well, really, considering I cheated.
I don't like messy people. My old flatmate was a real slob. She used to leave her towel lying around all the time, so I used to clean the toilet bowl with it. That'll teach her for leaving her towel lying about.
When I was a postman many years ago, I was a telegram boy, and there was another man there called Paul, and he was very conscientious but very impoverished. He used to wear his brother's old hand-me-downs, a big kipper tie. His clothes were sort of 5 years out of fashion. Anyway, one day he had the misfortune of knocking an old lady down on a zebra crossing, so he was sent home in shock. The woman was taken to hospital but left without any injury, just a bit of, she was in shock herself. she was alright. But poor Paul was unfortunate in that not only was it payday, but they chose me to take his wages round. Later that night in the evening, he opened the door, still in his uniform, looking at me, still in shock. I looked him squarely in the eye and said, "She's dead." Well, the blood drained from his face. It sort of run down. His whole face turned green. I did tell him the truth in the end, but
Yeah, I was late for work one morning, and my flatmate had this bike which I've had my eye on for a while, and then I was just going to borrow it, as I did, and I got to work, and then that night I took the tube home, and we thought his bike was stolen, or he did at least, and since he never really blamed me, I never took the bike back until I moved out of the flat, and I'm still using the bike.
Me and my friend Becky had a massive argument with our friend Jess about Becky's current boyfriend Thomas, who was Jess's ex, and Jess didn't like them going out together. So me and Becky, in revenge, went out and bought a lovely gift box from the Body Shop and lovely tissue paper and some rubber gloves. Went into my garden and collected the most vilest, runniest dog poos, and just masses of hard old dog poos and whole ones, and wrapped them all up in the lovely tissue paper, and then wrapped the box up in brown paper and got stencils and wrote the address on it and got watered for the stamp so there was no evidence of us on it, and went to the post office and sent it to her. And she came into the pub a couple of weeks later and said, "Oh my God, somebody sent me a feces in a box." And me and Becky were like, "Oh my God, that's so bad," because we'd made friends with Jess by this point. And she thinks it's another girl called Naomi who she'd had another argument with in the meantime, and to this day she still thinks it's Naomi, so sorry.
I was angry at my boyfriend, and I put bleach in the milk and shook it and put it back in the fridge, hoping that when he was drunk he would drink it. And that's it.
I was about 7 years old, and my friend who used to sit behind me had this ring from one of those machines that you put 20p in and you get this stupid plastic thing out. Anyway, she'd been boasting about it all morning and she was really annoying me. So basically, during lunchtime, me and another friend, we crept back in the classroom and we found her ring and we hid it in a pencil pot on somebody else's desk. Anyway, after lunch she came back and she noticed that the ring was missing, so of course she told the teacher, and the teacher made us all sit in the classroom, sort of demanding us to tell her who it was that had stolen the ring. So anyway, we sit there and we wait and just nobody says anything, and it begins to get really scary because, you know, if nobody confesses then we were just all going to get in big trouble. So anyway, I put my hand up and I said, "Well, I've seen Richard, this boy who, the pencil pot, who the way I put the ring," I said, "I saw him hanging around the classroom at lunchtime." So of course they went over to his desk and they found it, and he got in really big trouble. And that's it really. He never did really well. He didn't do very well at school, so I've always felt a bit guilty about it. So that's it.
Nice, that's amazing.